Is this image shared by Ron James of MUFON fake? Well, let's talk about that and a whole lot more today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, the other day, Ron James, media director of MUFON, was on Vetted with Patrick, and he shared this intriguing image of a UFO crash retrieval. He says this was a shoot down, and then they performed a crash retrieval on it. And it looked pretty good, but new evidence has come out. This. Okay, yeah, it's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. Okay, why is it not looking good? Well, people have found these military miniatures and compared them with the figures on the UFO. You know, people were asking, well, why is somebody sitting in a chair on a UFO? Well, the answer could be as simple as because there was a figurine of that. He looks exactly the same posture, the same pose, everything. There's another guy with his back facing us that is the same pose as this gentleman right here. So, yeah, is this a fake made with miniatures? The internet has been abuzz about this latest controversy. Obviously, if Ron James, media director of MUFON, was sharing a bogus image, that'd be a bad look. Is that just a mistake? Is that just information? Well, he actually was good enough to go on Vetted again and talk about it. And I'm not going to share the whole thing. I'll just relate generally what he said. He says that he and MUFON are committed to finding the truth. If it turns out to be a hoax, they'll say so. However, he does say there is additional information. That these pictures, this picture that he showed, is just one of multiple pieces of evidence that they've compiled regarding this event. So we'll have to wait to see what other pieces of evidence there are before we can really judge. But right now, it's not looking great. It's not looking great, I'll be honest. So let me know what you think about that. Is this fake? Is it, with these military miniatures or not? Because we have seen this, used before, similar things like the jellyfish UFO. Well, almost instantly people tried to debunk it, saying it was a balloon, and they pointed to a certain balloon. Well, it turns out that balloon had actually never been manufactured. There was a design of it, but nobody ever actually made it. So it was a bogus debunk. People have said the same thing about some other various cases. So is that what's going on here? Is a bogus debunk with miniatures that maybe never got off the ground, or is this conclusive proof that this has been that this is a hoax? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Moving on to the next story, very sad news. There was a suicide reported. There was a gentleman who went to Skinwalker Ranch, outside of Skinwalker Ranch, and committed suicide somewhere on the road. He left his motorcycle on the road, went off the road, and killed himself. Very, very tragic. What's interesting about this case, other than obviously just being a great tragedy, is that he wrote a 6-page letter to Thomas Winterton, of Skinwalker Ranch. And it's an interesting letter. He gives suggestions, interestingly. Bring in a rock hound to sniff out fracture consistency. And he talks about Bigelow and the Bigelow era and what he believes is going on at Skinwalker Ranch. Think about the mothership. Think harmonic magnosphere. Like he's giving suggestions for having to go about, studying Skinwalker Ranch. A strange and sad case. Who knows what was, really going through that gentleman's mind and why he did this. But definitely, I couldn't not have reported on it. So there you go. Moving on to some more happier news, lighter news. This is, I think, a really solid UFO sighting presented by Disclosure Party. A 2008 clip of a UFO hovering in a Houston, Texas backyard. That's where I was born. I was born in Houston. Good town. Very flat. Very flat town. Needs some hills. No hills. But awesome food. Houston probably has the best food of anywhere. Best Mexican food, best every kind of food. Okay, enough about food. What do you think about this UFO? Yeah, I'm kind of hungry. It's true. It's true. This is a good UFO. I think this is a very interesting UFO. You see birds flying over. I think this is very solid. I don't think this is CGI. I don't think that's a tin can. I think we're looking at a pretty good sighting of one of these clunky, nuts and boltsy kind of UFOs that have been seen many times over the years. You know, especially like in the 50s in that area, they were seeing all these clunky UFOs that, you know, look kind of man-made, like something that we could do, even if they were doing fantastic things that we couldn't do. You know, anyway, let me know what you think about this interesting sighting, but I think that's a pretty good case. All right, moving on. So Ronnie Vernet has been trying to get to the bottom of the UFO incursion in South America, and he has been giving us periodic progress results on his what he's been able to do there, setting up his equipment, setting up his surveillance equipment to actually get eyes on these UFOs that are swarming over parts of the Amazon. He says, Starlink on. I will transfer data in real time from the first Amazon jungle UFO UAP monitoring station that will be installed in the next few days. So, okay, great. So maybe over the next few days, we will get our eyes on some of these UFOs that have been just buzzing over the Amazon very recently. Not associated, I don't think, with, you know, face peeling or anything like that. These are just straight up UFOs as far as I'm aware. But there's been quite a rash of them. Okay, now Danny Sheehan, meanwhile, is saying some interesting stuff. So let's give it a listen to what Danny has to say here on Thomas Fessler Disclosure Tonight.
You know, that they could come forward. And what they're after, what the Senate keeps wanting, is they want to have a person. We've had the direct face-to-face conversations with Senator Warner, who's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. What he wants is a witness who could come forward who has actually laid their hands directly on an extraterrestrial spacecraft, you know, in a kind of an official government setting, to be able to confirm that the United States government is in possession of such a craft.
Do we have anybody like that you know of, Danny?
Yes.
Wow.
There are. The difficulty is they're afraid. They're afraid that they will be retaliated against because the present regime of protecting UAP whistleblowers is insufficient.
So yeah, kudos to Tom for getting Danny on his show and getting these great quotes from Danny talking about what's going on with UFO disclosure in Congress. So Senator Warner wants somebody to come forward publicly, I hopefully publicly, that's had hands-on with a UFO. Absolutely 100%. I love people like Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet and others, Carl Nell, you know, people who are very, you know, who probably know what they're talking about, especially Carl Nell. But do they have hands-on? Have they actually interacted with the technology or the beings? You know, I don't know about either of those two gentlemen. I think that their research and information is very solid, but do they have hands-on? So we need witnesses to come forward that are hands-on. I'm hoping to get that in the next UFO hearing in the House. But Senator Warner obviously is in the Senate. So it's interesting if we can get dual, you know, hearings, you know, some in the House and some in the Senate. However, it's unclear if this is going to be a public hearing, if that's what's going on or not. Will this be in a skiff? You know, is this just for the benefit of the senators to figure out what's going on and satisfy themselves that the U.S. is indeed in possession of this technology? Or are they going to share this with the public? An important question, and I guess we'll find out soon enough. So yeah, great interview on Disclosure Tonight, and I will link to the full interview. You can watch it at your leisure. Good stuff. Meanwhile, speaking of what's going on with Congress and the senators and representatives, this is from Marco Rubio of the Senate, and it's just, you know, a letter to somebody talking about UFOs. But I was encouraged by this quote here: as Congress conducts oversight of Arrow, as Congress conducts oversight of Arrow, I will continue to work with my colleagues to ensure that the office remains committed to finding solutions to the challenging task of addressing what UAP means for our nation's security. I remain committed to ensuring AARO has the resources it needs to conduct their important work. Well, I really like this quote about oversight. From the reporting that I read by Dean Johnson yesterday, talking about the NDAA and the various UAP amendments in it. For example, would we get oversight of AARO, some sort of audit of AARO? His interpretation was that we probably wouldn't get it, but if what Marco Rubio is saying right here is correct, that oversight of AARO is still on the table, possibly some sort of review. So I find this very encouraging. The rest of the letter is just, boilerplate, politician speak, but that was pretty cool. So, okay, so meanwhile, we have another interesting quote from Dr. Stephen Greer saying his own people have been taken out.
I've had 4 people on my team killed.
4 people in your team killed?
I have.
So there you go. You can watch the full thing at your leisure. Good interview with Dr. Stephen Greer. Recommended on a PBD podcast. Go check it out. But are his claims correct? Well, we just heard Danny Sheehan talking about retaliation and whistleblowers afraid to come forward because of retaliation. We've heard this time and time again. Lou Elizondo recently made a big splash saying that, he is not suicidal. There has been some shady stuff that has happened over the years. David Grush has talked about assassinations and murders conducted in the name of UFO secrecy. So, I don't take Dr. Stephen Greer's words lightly when he says his own people have been harmed, even killed, in the name of the cover-up. However, Dr. Stephen Greer has said some wild stuff. It wasn't very long ago when he said that he could single-handedly order the takeout of a UFO black site. So, maybe he can, right? Maybe he can, who knows, right? Who knows? But unlikely, I think that most of us would agree that Stephen Greer cannot order the takedown of a UFO control group site. He says a lot of things. He's done a lot of good for the community. I don't want to discredit or smear him unduly, but yeah, he says a lot of things. So let me know what you think about this latest claim from Stephen Greer in the comments below. Meanwhile, another really good UFO video from Disclosure Party, again, this time in the UK. Yeah, Disclosure Party seems like they're putting up some pretty solid UFOs, and I like this one. Obviously, it looks like a dragon. Yeah, this is what it really looked like. And then we see the slowed down, high contrast version. I can talk, guys. So yeah, is that a dragon? Is that a dragon buzzing a plane? Of course, Dr. Robert Shipe of California has pioneered the research into what he calls the Dragon UAP. He called them that because at first he thought they were dragonflies, until further research convinced him that no, these were anomalous objects and they like to buzz our aerial vehicles. So, is that what's going on here? That's certainly what it looks like. More corroboration for Dr. Robert Shipe. I love it. Go, Robert. Meanwhile, Stephen Greenstreet, the other Stephen, says we're back in the basement office. New episode dropping soon. Okay. I really like the first season of the Basement Office. Back when Stephen Greenstreet seemed like he was open-minded on UFOs, and he was partnering up with Nick Pope, who definitely knows a thing or two about UFOs. And it was a pretty good show. I mean, it didn't dive super deep and get too weird, but it was a pretty decent show. Very mainstream, nuts and boltsy kind of show, but not bad for all of that. But then he turned a page and became very against UFOs. So what in the world could a new season of Basement Office look like? And, why is Nick Pope part of it? So let me know, are you interested in the new season of the Basement Office? What in the world is that going to look like, since Stephen Greenstreet is so anti-UFOs these days? I don't know. I don't normally hate watch stuff, so I probably won't watch this, but I'm sure I'll see clips of it here and there. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Meanwhile, last but not least, next level hobby. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Look at this crazy thing. It looks like a plane landing, right? That looks like a low-flying plane. It's not a plane, guys. That's a model. Somebody built a huge model airplane. That is the biggest model airplane I've ever seen. I'm so jealous. That's just so awesome. Look at that thing. That is a behemoth. That is a behemoth, guys. It takes a full-grown man just to push it. Oh, that's amazing, guys. Let me know what you think about this amazing model airplane in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, grab a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or become a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.